How to start the downswing. Without a doubt, it's one of the most common questions I get as a coach. And if you've been wondering about this subject, stay tuned. This video is really going to help. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here at the Joondalup Resort. Before we get stuck in, as always, please go down below, click subscribe, click that little bell so you get notified of all the great lessons coming your way. Also, just a little reminder, I am doing online coaching at www.kggolf. There's a link down below. So if you're wanting to work with me in a remote fashion, you can't come to here at the Joondalup Resort, well, I'm more than happy to help you through our online coaching portal that we've got there. So if you feel like you're ready to upgrade your game and really improve your skills and your technique, well, I'm absolutely here to help. Alrighty, in today's lesson, we're talking about the transition. It seems to be a mystery to a lot of golfers, how they move from their backswing to their downswing, what they need to think about to get that golf club starting its descending blow down towards the target. Well, first of all, let's talk about the biggest misconception of all, that there is a difference between the backswing and the downswing. It is not two motions. It is one dynamic motion all blended together. Yes, there is a period of time when the club is moving back and the club is moving down. However, with the assumption that there is an end to the backswing and a start to the downswing, well, that just turns the golf swing, which is a dynamic athletic motion, into something static and controlled. And let's be honest, the golf swing is over in under a second, so we cannot really consciously control those motions as well as we would like. So if you are under the assumption there is a difference between the backswing and the downswing, first of all, hopefully this information helps that it is all just one motion. Use a simple analogy like throwing a ball. Even though my hand is going back, my body is moving forward. That creates some sort of stretch to the motion. It creates some sort of sequence in which the ball is then released with some power towards our intended target. The golf swing, it's absolutely no different at all. So first of all, let's get that understanding in check. There is no actual stopping point between the backswing and the downswing. It is actually blended together. And with that understanding, it might actually clear things up just with a simple shift in concept. Okay, so let's talk about really what does start that transition move and at what time in the backswing. Well, what we see, if we're just using the stick down on the ground as a reference of where our ball would be positioned, as we get to the top of the swing, generally what we see is players load all the way as far back as they can, and then they think about what is going to start that movement towards the golf ball. As said before, it's not as such, it's actually just one motion together. Now, what do we see with the best players in the world? What are the moves that they apply that helps them get that beautiful, effortless motion and send that ball some distance down towards the target? Well, what we see with the professional is as they're starting their backswing motion, they're pivoting, they're rotating, they're turning away from the golf ball. By the time that their lead arm is about parallel in the backswing, they have what's called a recentering move. Now, I've done another few videos on this move. I'm going to call it the secret move, the difference between the tour professional and the recreational golfer. It is the recentering of their body back towards the downswing. And in my opinion, this is what actually initiates that downswing sequence and gets the ball rolling and the dominoes falling in our favor to produce the most amount of effective strike and distance with our shot. So let's go through that again. As the golf clubs are moving back, by the time the lead arm is parallel in the backswing, we see a recentering of the body. And what that means is that my body gets to a certain point and it starts moving or drifting back towards the target. If you slow-mo a lot of professional golfers, you will actually see a distinct movement of where they reach about this stage here, and it looks like they're falling almost back towards the target. And as they do so, this allows some sort of lagging motion with the club shaft and the arms. The arc gets a little bit narrow on the downswing. It enables them to shift their pressure forward. It enables them to shift their mass towards the target. So by the time they get back to the ball, they are in front, the club head is behind the hands, and that puts them in that really strong position that you'll see that they're able to follow through towards the target. The average recreational golfer, they miss that whole recentering move. They swing to the top. By the time that their lead arm is parallel, they're still trying to crank their backswing up. They get too far behind the ball, and when they start down, they're back behind, they spin out, and they struggle with getting their low point in front of where they would like. So as you can see, The transition move actually starts when this lead arm is parallel to the ground in the backswing. It is that recentering move of the body. Once they have gotten to that stage, what then happens is there will be a drifting of their lower body, a push into the ground, a reflexing of the knees as they move down into this position here. Now what this does is it begins to rotate the lower body. The upper body slightly lags behind, about 10 milliseconds behind the lower body. And what that enables the club to do is come down in front of the body. So you can see by this stage here, club shaft parallel to the ground, my hands are in front of my right leg. And then from here, it's very simple to get that compressed strike that you might be looking for. Let's look at that from the down the line view. As we get to the top of the swing, lead arm parallel, there would be a recentering back towards, there's a shift of pressure, there is a movement and rotation of the hips. The upper body is slightly lagging behind. That allows the arms to unload in front of the body, and then from there, it's quite simple to follow through towards the target. So how do we train this if we're struggling getting this move? Now, we don't want to be conscious of this whatsoever. Generally, what we just need to do is we just need to make your golf swing a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic, and blend the difference between the backswing and the downswing so you do not have to think about this all elusive transition move that you think you need to be conscious of. We don't have enough time to put those things into order, so what we need to do is we need to train the skill, train the movement through a series of exercises and drills so it happens in a subconscious manner automatically. So let's talk about the first drill that we're going to get you to do. So you're going to set up to a ball, and then from here, all we're simply going to do is we're going to move our left foot a little bit in. And I've just got this reference here of where the ball would be positioned. You can see my lead foot for a normal ball position. I've got an 8-iron here. It's about a club head inside the lead foot. I'm just going to shift that a little bit more towards the center line of my stance. Now it's as simple as this. If the ball was on the ground, what we're going to do, as we're swinging the club back, we're going to take a little micro step forward and follow through. What happens when we do that? As soon as the club is moving back and we're stepping forward, we're actually falling into the ball. We're applying pressure down into the ground, and we'll create this elastic stretch by the body gets in front, the club lags behind, and then we'll get that shaft lean that we're looking for. Let's look at it from the down the line view. So from the address position, normal stance, place the left foot in a little bit. As we move the club back, a little tiny step forward, I really get the sensation that's allowing my body to move towards my intended target rather than hanging back and behind and spinning back out of it. So let's do it with the ball. I would advise just teeing one up to start off with if you've never done this exercise before. So we're going to set up, we're going to get our left foot, move it in a little bit. As I move the club back, I'm going to take a little step forward. Let's have a look. You can see I followed through all the way to this finished position, struck the ball first, the ground second, felt great off the club face, effortless distance and power. The little training drill, the little training exercise that I suggest you doing, my personal favorite, I would get most golfers doing this, use a combination of them to get the sensation that we're looking for to help you find that difference between the backswing and the downswing, help you recenter yourself into a position where it makes your impact significantly easier, especially if you're a golfer who struggles with contact. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video and you got something out of it, especially if you're a player who's really confused about this subject and didn't know that the backswing and the downswing is actually just one dynamic motion. Put it all together, do some of these drills, and I can guarantee that your ball striking will get better. If you got any questions, please ask me below. But until next time, I'm Kerrod. Thanks for watching.